Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Flerf a Week. After we covered last week the fact that flat earthers don't understand what gravity is, we continue to another Flerf that just can't grasp the concept of closed systems in terms of gravitational forces. This time we get the pleasure to deal with a well-known flat earther that I've waited too long before I had the guts to take him down. I'm talking of course about D. Marble, so without further ado, let's begin.
In the discussion between flat versus globe, we often come across the explanation of gravity. Gravity is the glue, in my opinion, that holds this whole heliocentric model together.
No, gravity is not a glue, it's a force, an attractive force acting on masses, and it doesn't glue the heliocentric model, it glues everything.
But another question that I'd like to ask about gravity concerns gravity and our moon. Now, the way that we're taught that gravity works here on Earth is that everything's being attracted to the center of the mass of the Earth.
So far so good. If you understand it that way, which is very good, what can be so weird about the moon?
That's what causes people to walk upside down on the underside of a spinning ball, and that's what causes these trillions of gallons of water to be able to conform to the outward exterior of this spinning ball Earth that we all supposedly live on.
Exactly. I assume you just quoted this definition since you still don't get it right.
Anyway, my question is, it kind of comes in two parts. The way that gravity works here on Earth seems to be different than the way that gravity works out in space.
There it is. Flerf just can't apply a concept on two different systems and see what it means. D. Marble, the law of gravitational attraction is the same no matter where you are. You put in the right numbers and get the amount of force each body exerts.
The way that it works on Earth is the whole, like I said, mass attracts mass. Everything's affected by the Earth's gravitational pull, therefore everything is being held down to the surface. Okay, fine. With the exception of bugs, smoke, clouds, helium balloons, hot air balloons, things like that. But I digress.
D. Marble, are you just plain dumb or are you that way for real? I'm not going to explain why helium balloons rise and why birds, bugs, and airplanes, etc. can fly. For those of you who don't know it by now, a link to the lift article in Wikipedia is in the description.
Now, out in space, the way that gravity works, it just causes objects to orbit around other things. See, in the heliocentric model of our solar system, all the planets are orbiting around the sun.
No, you dumbass, everything is still being pulled to the most influential mass, but since the objects have some tangential velocity, they quote-unquote miss the pulling mass and turn over. This is how an orbit is occurred. The reason for the fact that you can see only orbits is because 13.7 billion years have eliminated most of the objects that were in a collision course with any other objects.
Okay, now the Earth is said to be orbiting around the sun. Also, although we see video of what is obviously the sun making a circuit around the face of the Earth. But moving along.
Wow, you are so stupid. You don't see the sun moving. It is your angle that is changing along the day.
Let's play Globey here. If you're a globe believer and you go with that model, you prescribe to the idea of gravity as it's been taught, then you also believe that the Earth is orbiting around the sun as well as all the other planets. Now, there are 5 planets that are beyond the Earth that are still orbiting around the sun due to the idea of being within the sun's gravitational pull. Those planets are Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
And some other more distant objects, like the Kuiper Belt and Halley's Comet, but let aside.
Now, according to the globe model, Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. It has a 272,967 mile circumference, and it's also large enough to hold 1,321 Earths inside it. Neptune is the planet that's farthest away from the sun in our solar system. It's said to be 2.793 billion miles away from the sun. Now, I would have to ask the question, if the largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter, is subjected to the gravitational pull of the sun, if the planet that is farthest away from the sun, Neptune, is subjected to the gravitational pull of the sun and caused to orbit around it, why is it that our moon, which is hilariously smaller than Jupiter and way closer to the sun than Neptune, why is our moon not orbiting around the sun?
Well, technically it does, with the Earth. The Earth's pull is just much stronger if you calculate mass over distance squared, and the fact that you, idiot, just can't get gravity correctly just implies that you shouldn't make videos about the heliocentric model.
What we understand in the flat earth community, the sun and the moon are what moves here. They make a clockwise circuit around the center, which is known as the North Pole.
We don't give a damn about what you understand, unless you can provide some real evidence to back up your idiotic, retarded belief, or do some real better science than what we can do now. Your understanding of the solar system is basically a belief.
I even took a trip to Alaska last summer so I could get a time lapse of the sun doing just that. The sun starts at this orange pole, moves off around the mountains, comes back around this little hill, comes back through the sky, and there it is back at the orange pole. So, if we have 5 planets that are much larger and much further away from the sun than our moon, why is it that the moon doesn't orbit around the sun?
As I said, the moon does move around the sun, but since you're on the Earth and you can see the moon from this angle, it appears that the moon only orbits around the Earth. If you had some 3D thinking capabilities, I'm sure you would have get it eventually, but your inability to grasp science is not a valid argument against it. And that's for today, friends. I hope that today we've learned something about large-scale orbits and how greater masses affect lesser masses. I want us all to thank D Marble for this fun episode. I promise he will be back. Before we wrap things up, I want to thank my patron. Whoever wants to contribute, a link to Patreon is in the description. If you enjoyed, a like and subscribe will be appreciated. Feel free to share or mirror this video with and wherever you like. I was, as always, rndthinker, and see you in the next video.